What's your take on the version of feminism that exists today? Not the one that, I mean, like you and I are pretty close to the same age. I mean, like the version that I remember growing up was, let's just, try to make sure that women have an equal opportunity, sort of thing, right? Um,
Yeah.
Today, from my perspective, it appears to be more of a supremacy movement where it's not so much concerned about making women better. It seems more concerned about taking men down or making them less and not doing anything to improve the state of women. It removes femininity from the equation, is pretty much the
Yeah.
way that I would look at it. Like, what's your take on the way that feminism looks like today?
I agree with what you just said. What I see is that there's a movement and a growing trend. And this is ironic because this feminist type movement that we see today will undermine and mock and dismiss and ridicule masculinity. And in the very next breath, they'll tell women, not directly, but this is their messaging, is that you have to act like a man in order to be equal or better than a man. So it's
Mm.
like, well, which is it? Is masculinity and manliness harmful and destructive and bad? Or is it that you should act more like a man so that you can be his equal? And I don't think a woman acting like a man makes her equal to a man. It makes her an inferior version of a woman. Like that's the only outcome of it.
Hmm.
So when I look at women, my wife is a great example of this. She's a stay-at-home mother. She's a homemaker. I just did a podcast with her earlier. We were on somebody else's podcast, and the gentleman said, "How would you like me to introduce you?" And she said, "Wife and mother." That's right, because that's her greatest calling. She's wanted to do that and be that from the time that she was little. But the feminist movement we see today would laugh and scoff at that.
Hmm.
Oh, you're going to be inferior. Oh, your husband under your thumb, or you're under your husband's thumb. I can't believe he's keeping you barefoot and pregnant. And she's over here thinking, I'm just living my best life. I'm here. I'm supporting. I'm nurturing. I'm guiding. I'm counseling with him. I'm turning this house into a home. And so I have a real issue with women's empowerment when it's not really about women's empowerment. It's about turning women into inferior versions of men.
Yeah, it's so bizarre because it's like the version of feminism today seems to tell women that you can't do anything for the express pleasure of your man. Make him a sandwich, bring him breakfast, bring him a nice glass of iced tea while he's working outside doing something, for the household. But they'll encourage them to go and, get a job, get a degree, frame it in mahogany with little letters after their name, and go and serve a boss who's
Yeah,
probably, more likely than not a man. Like that's good. Serving your household is bad, right?
right.
It's such a bizarre
It's
sort of
it's
feature.
interesting. I come home from jujitsu 2 to 3 nights a week, and when I get home, food's on the counter. And I say, what did we have for dinner tonight? And she's like, yeah, we had, steak and potatoes and broccoli. Awesome. I'm going to go take a shower. She's like, great. I'll warm up your food for you.
Mm.
And I come down and the food's warm and it's sitting there and it's beautiful and it's delicious. And I eat it and I honor her and she honors me. That doesn't make her inferior. She's expressing her love and admiration for me. Like this is a partnership. She's expressing her gratitude. That doesn't make her like subservient or a slave or servant to me. It's just this is the way that she's expressing her gratitude and appreciation for the relationship that we have.
It does make her an outlier today, though. I mean, the
Oh,
vast
oh,
majority of
100%.
women, especially in urban centers, believe that that's not the goal anymore. The goal is
Right.
compete with men, climb the corporate ladder, get degrees, and then by the time they're like 40 and they've got two eggs left over, they rush out to go out and try to get married and have a family, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what they, usually end up with. They come to an epiphany at some point in their late 30s or even early 40s where they're like, I'm screwed. I made some bad choices and this isn't really what I wanted, right? And they're surrounded by a few cats and a box wine subscription and a boss that they hate and a patriarchy that they, march against, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a shame that they're being fed that line. That's the real issue is that they're being fed that line
Hook,
by
line,
a
and
bunch of
sinker.
angry, bitter women
Yeah.
who did the same thing and they want other people to follow in their footsteps so they too can be miserable.
It feels like a losing battle today, though. Like, what's your take on that? Because I mean, I'm kind of at the point now where it's like I'm just just leave me alone. Don't tax me. Stay out of my life. I'll just enjoy the decline as things sort of unfold as time passes on, right? But there's others that haven't gotten there, or may not get there, or may get there at some point. Like, I'm just curious about your take on that role that society plays today, because like the way that you live and the way that you describe coming home from the dojo and dinner's ready and you can take a shower and she'll heat it up and there's none of this. Like, I remember a buddy of mine telling me once, recently married, had a small child that was about 6 or 7 months old, and he came home from work one day and he's like, hey, sweetheart, what's for dinner? And she scoffed at him, went to the freezer, took a bag of some frozen something or other and whipped it at him. And he was like,
Yeah.
yeah, he's like, what is this? Like, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, I mean that's a bitter move, right? Like there's a lot of bitterness and contention in doing something like that. Now,
Yeah.
granted, like I'm not going to disrespect my wife by saying, "Woman, go make me a sandwich," because that's what, some guy. That's not what I do. I'm not saying that at all. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
a balancing act here. Like I've got to respect her too. And the more I respect her, the more she's going to respect me in return, and we're going to serve each other. So with your question about the balance between disengaging and being engaged, it's interesting, man. I said I moved to Maine. We bought 50 acres out here. We live in a very rural area. I too want to be left alone. I don't want you to bother me. I want to live my life. I want to raise my kids. I don't want to get into stuff that doesn't make sense to me or I think is destructive. I want to make a little money, have some experiences. Like I want all of that and more. But I don't think that I get to absolve myself of what's going on in society. So one of the things that you said was pay less taxes, or just pay my taxes, or not pay more taxes. Well,
Mm-hmm.
if we don't get involved, like you're going to pay more taxes. Like that's the inevitable outcome, is that there is no universe in which we'll be left alone. It's a constant march against the way of life that we enjoy and the way of life that we want to have. And so is it a losing battle? Yeah, man, probably in a lot of ways, until it gets so bad that enough people wake up. I think probably it is.
Mm-hmm.
But the result, or the opposite, is to do nothing and just to let it happen quicker. And I can't do that. What I want to do is I want to rally men around the concepts that we're sharing and empower and embolden them to live a life of meaning and significance, so that we can ward off some of this nonsense before it gets too bad.
Hey guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that short clip. If you did, consider supporting the creation of content by checking out my supplement line. Pinned in the top comment below of this video in the comments, there's a link to the unpluggedalpha.com/shop. When you click through, you'll be able to land over here, and the entire lineup is broken down by category that it performs best in: estrogen metabolism, fat burning, your foundational essentials for health, immune health, performance, and testosterone support. If you check out with coupon code ALPHA10, you'll get 10% off on your first order. There's also the option to use the subscribe and save model, where regular shipments will be sent over to you on a regular basis, and that gives you a little bit of a discount, and your supplement facts are always broken down over here. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have an awesome day. And again, check out that link. It's pinned in the top comment below in this video. Peace out.